beautiful as always. Always beautiful. I was here the other day when they were rehearsing that song, and they were, by the end of it, they were both in tears. And I heard Sherry sharing with Charles that whenever she performs that song, she thinks of her children. And it's what she wishes for them, joy. That's what we wish for our children, isn't it? Joy and happiness. I can see clearly now. Isn't that neat? Unity chose that theme, and you know, large organizations like Unity, they choose their themes. Oh my goodness, the Daily Word, all those things, you know, all of that is done way more than a year in advance, so they can get their website, they can get all the resources to us. They're online, by the way. If you go to unity.org, you will find all of the resources for the theme that they had for this year, and it was 2020 Vision. There used to be a TV program. Is there still one? 2020? Is there? I don't watch much TV, but and it's same theme because of 2020 Vision. That was the perfect vision that we have 2020, and we can see things clearly when we have that type vision. So, but before we start, Helen Keller writes, "Use your eyes as if tomorrow you would be stricken blind." Think about that. A woman that never had eyesight. Never. Reverend Edna lived with someone that was physically blind, didn't you? Mr. Bill. Yeah. So she said, if I had 3 days to see, this is what I would want to see. So let's think about this. On the first day, I would want to see the people whose kindness and companionship have made my life worth living. Sweet. I would call in my friends and look for a long time into their faces. I would also look into the face of a new baby, she said. I would like to see the many books which have been read to me. Then she said the next day, I'd get up early to see the dawn. I would visit a museum to learn of man's upward progress in the making of things. I would go to an art museum to probe the human souls by studying their sculptures and paintings. The third morning, I would again greet the dawn, eager to discover new beauties in nature. I would spend the last day in the haunts of persons where they work. I would stand at a busy street corner, trying to understand something of the daily lives of persons by looking. You can only imagine someone that's never had eyesight. We can only imagine. Yes, she says, I would see what matters and behold the extraordinary in the commonplace. So to see clearly means that we remove the scales from our eyes, see the beauty with which we are surrounded. So this beautiful year that we've had, 2020, what have you learned? Has it opened your eyes any? We never would have guessed that this is what would have happened. Dan, is there no way to advance that slide on our screen? Anybody know PowerPoint? Oh, it's not transmitting to the screen. Okay. Oh, what a disappointment. I had these beautiful 2 slides to share with you. And now I'm just as disappointed as I can be. But it won't throw me off because this year has not thrown me off. You know why? I've told you this 2 or 3 times. I'm the faith keeper here. So this won't throw me off either. What's a faith keeper? In the Native American tradition, one member of the tribe assumes the role of faith keeper. This person's role is to remain at peace, centered in spiritual vision, no matter what events befall the tribe. Coronavirus, elections, whosever team won and whosever team lost. The faith keeper keeps no notice. The faith keeper keeps the faith. Even if everyone else in the tribe slips into pain, fear, or dissension, the faith keeper is the one person the tribe can rely on as a lifeline to the presence. The faith keeper is balanced and centered and not thrown off by the events of the world. Okay? That's my job here. That's my role. That's your role too. And I hope, as you're out in the world talking, that you're living that. Because we do remember what we teach. And then that is something good comes from every situation, right? Right. Okay. So we don't leave the church where we just affirmed all that and go out grumbling, complaining, or on the other side, not being humble, maybe arrogant. Neither one of them is pretty. Neither one is being centered or calm or being the one that's centered in God and balanced and whole. So as in these strange times, it would be almost humanly impossible not to be moved by what goes on in the world. It'd be almost impossible. We accept that. We're human. We know that. We observe. And sometimes when we're around people that are in chaos and complaining and they're just all upset or worried or whatever, we will start to feel it because we're empaths and we feel what others are feeling at the moment. So we start to feel that too. And that's when we might need to separate ourselves a little bit and say, you know, I need to take a break right now and recenter myself. Let me just pause, take a moment, become centered, and remember who I am. I remember who I am, especially at this time. I'm remembering who I am. I'm a peacemaker and a faith keeper. And it's almost humanly impossible not to be moved. But we must challenge ourselves right now to stay centered and balanced and at peace. And just as our musicians were sharing with us what we need to wish for ourselves is joy, love, peace, kindness, a good life. They don't need millions of dollars. We just want them to be able to experience joy. Experience joy. So the question is not, have you moved off your center? The question is, how quickly can you get back? That's what I'm going to challenge you to do today. We know most of us have been off center, a bit challenged, worried about the future maybe. Oh dear Lord, the world's going to come piling in on us any moment. I can understand that. I understand it totally. The fear that we can feel sometimes, but that's what I'm going to challenge you to do. I want you to be proud of your worst moment. Okay? Whatever you're saying, whatever you're doing, pretend that it's being videotaped. And it's going to be shown to everybody you love and admire. And you want the admiration of those people. So just consider that. I see your true colors. I see your true colors. And that's why I love you. Because I know who you are. Because you see, I see from a higher place. I'm looking at you from a soul level. I know who you truly are. So don't let the ego get in the way. Just shove it aside. So when you get off center, how quickly can you get back? That's the challenge. So I was talking about spiritual clarity today, wasn't I? 20/20 vision. Measured at a distance of 20 feet in our physical world. There's nothing quite like the feeling when that which has been clouded, blurry, is cleared. Is there? It becomes clear. You know how it is when your glasses are all fogged up. Maxine's glasses were all fogged up this morning. Yeah, we can't see, can we? We cannot see. And so that's what we strive for right now from a spiritual perspective. What is the lens through which you are seeing the world? Are you seeing it from a higher place? Are you seeing it from the ego? Is it clear or cloudy? What is the lens through which you are judging others? Just a few questions this week that I want you to think about. So there was once a king who offered a prize to the artist who would paint the best picture of peace. Many, many artists tried. The king looked at all the pictures, but there were only two that he really, really liked. One picture was a calm lake. The lake was a perfect mirror, for peaceful, towering mountains were all around. Overhead was a blue sky with fluffy white clouds. All who saw the picture thought it was a perfect picture of peace. The other had mountains too, but these were ragged and bare. Above was an angry sky from which rain fell and which lightning played. Down the side of the mountain tumbled a foaming waterfall. Didn't look peaceful at all. But when the king looked closely, he saw behind the waterfall a tiny bush growing in a crack in the rock. In the bush, a mother bird had her nest. There in the midst of the rush of angry water sat the mother bird on her nest. And the king chose the second picture because peace does not mean to be in a place where there is no noise, trouble, or hard work. Peace means to be in the midst of all those things and still be calm in your heart. That's the real meaning of peace. And in Mark 10:47, Bartimaeus says to Jesus, "Have pity on me. Have pity on me, Master." Jesus asked, "What do you want me to do for you?" Bartimaeus says, "Master, I want to see." Master, I want to see. This should be our cry every single day. I want to see from a higher perspective. I want to see with the eyes of God. I want to see from the divine and not from the lens of the ego, where the ego has already made up its mind. And the research that the ego's going to do is going to go as far as to find some research that will prove that it's right. Am I right? Yeah, exactly. We know that. And anything else that says different, we're going to push that off to the side. That's ego, and that's not seeing clearly. God, I want to see. I want to see with your eyes. I want to have perfect vision. I want to have 20/20 vision. That should be our cry every day. So using Bartimaeus as our guide, he recognizes his need and he cries out for help. And Jesus says, "Come to me. Come to me. I see your heart. I see who you are." Bartimaeus cast aside his cloak, which we know means his ego, because we look at the scriptures metaphysically, so that there is no room for spirit to come in. The ego has kept the spirit out, so throw your cloak aside. Allow spirit in. If we're to become vessels for love, for God, for new sight, we must empty out and make room. The truth is, if we want to see with the eyes of God, we must allow spirit in. So we come with our prayers, abandoning our old ways of looking at things, and we pray for new sight, empty out, and be open and willing to see things differently. So I ask you this morning, what do you want to see? You want to have peace of heart and mind? You can, you know. You can. You can have peace of heart and mind. You can. I promise. Because I do. And it doesn't matter whose team won. Ever. Because I stay balanced and at peace, knowing that something good comes from everything. So there's so many things in the world we would like to see differently. Please help me see differently. Sometimes that's the best prayer that we can have. And then we had a few steps that we were going to. See, this is why I needed that slide. Steps towards spiritual clarity. The first thing you have got to do is express the desire, however you want to do it. You may be in a bathtub, like another person that I read of, and when she just prayed out to God, "I need help." That was her prayer. She said along with it, though, she emptied out everything she'd ever thought that was right about her life or her beliefs or whatever. So he expressed the desire, God, I want to see. I want to see from a higher perspective. I want to be happy. And then commit to questioning your thoughts, because our thoughts are important. Why? We talked about this a little earlier in my first sermon, that we need to keep our thoughts positive, and we can control our thoughts. We can. And sometimes that's the first thing you learn when you come onto the spiritual path, is that you don't have to keep those negative thoughts around. You can let them go. And one of the most helpful things you can do is when a thought comes up, and maybe it's something fearful or whatever, question that thought and say, as Byron Katie does, do I know that to be the ultimate truth? That thought I just had, that fear, that worry. Do I know that to be the ultimate truth? Nope, probably not. Probably not. And keeping with what we teach here, express your desire, commit to questioning your thoughts. Pay attention to your feelings. You may need to give yourself time. There's certainly so many things that happen to us in this life. We need to pay attention to those feelings. Sometimes we need to have time to grieve. And that grieving may take years. And we know there's sadness, disappointment, all the things that happen. Give yourself time to feel that. And then start looking at your feelings. Commit to questioning your thoughts that are holding you back. Align with Spirit and pray. Whatever way is best for you. I have a lot of quiet time, that's what I call it. And sometimes it's sitting quietly at home in the dark. Sometimes it's while I'm walking in the morning along the beach, and the sound of the waves and the birds. And on my morning walk, I saw an eagle this morning. I just loved it. I loved it. I saw the eagle as I was thinking about what I was going to say today, and the eagle confirmed to me. It was my sign. That was one of my synchronicities. So that's part of my prayer time, and my meditative time is my walking. A lot of people meditate while they're walking. That's their quiet time. Align with Spirit, whatever way you can. Breathe deeply. We don't breathe deeply enough. When you want to align with Spirit, make sure you're relaxed and breathing, breathing, breathing. The breath is important. Charles tells us that every Sunday. Align with Spirit. Pray. Be willing and be open. Even though you already have your mind made up about something, can you be willing? Express some willingness to change your mind. And if not, I bet you can be willing to be willing. Be willing to see this differently. That's a prayer from A Course in Miracles, and one of the most powerful ones I've ever heard. I am willing to see things differently. And then open up your heart, open up the mind of the heart, open up the mind, the thoughts. I am willing to see things differently and to see the good, I'm willing to allow the good to come in. I'm willing to come off the porch. If I were looking for a sweetheart, I would at least come off the porch. See, like I said, that magic thinking that we can't always do that, then we got to put a little action to that and at least move a little bit. So I'm willing. Seek truth, seek love. If it's not good, don't follow that trail. It's not good. It's not God. I guarantee you. Don't follow that path, that rumor, that whatever it is. If it's not good, it's not God. So follow the path of love, seek truth, seek to find the whole truth. I want to know the truth, God. I want to know the truth of my being, the truth of this situation, this relationship, this partnership, this organization, this whatever. I want bottom line, truth. Truth. And whatever it is I need to give up to see that, some old thought, some old way of being, I'm willing to give that up. And then pray. Pause and pray. And especially before you speak. Okay? Somebody triggers you. Something triggers you. Facebook triggers you. A post on Facebook does. Go right on by it. You can, you know. Did you know that? Did you know it is possible? Someone's posted something and you're triggered by it. It is humanly possible, I promise you, to go right on by it and you don't have to respond. It's possible. It is possible. You can block them if you want. You know, it's just like I say to I don't want to hear that. You know, if you're around a lot of chaos and people that argue and find fault with this, that, and the other, I don't want that close to me. Do you? No, because I can feel that. You know, you can feel the vibration around you. Separate yourself from that. So separate yourself from that, but pause and pray before you say anything. I just kind of click off and say, and I've done this for 2 or 3 years or more. No, I don't talk about that, but it was nice talking to you. Bye. You can do that. You can do that lovingly. Because you see, prior to that, I would sit and listen to someone else's point of view coming directly from the ego. And I finally decided, you know what, I don't have to just hang up on them. You know, you can do that too. I love them and I care for them and I wish for their best, but I don't have to listen to it. I do not have to pollute my environment just because they want to pollute theirs. So I just lovingly say, well, I've got to run. I don't talk about those things. See, they do need to know. You need to tell them the truth, but you can say the truth lovingly. You know that. You don't have to be mean. You can say the truth lovingly. No, I don't talk about that. Thank you. Goodbye. Love you. And love them from afar. We can love people from afar, and we can let that post just go on by. You can. You don't have to respond. You really don't. That's your ego telling you that you do, that you have to. So we pause and we pray, whatever comes up, and then repeat that step. And repeat the other steps, all the way down to the bottom, because you see, we're all on this spiritual journey together, and we have to start at the bottom a lot. Don't we? Because something will come up. You'll have a year like 2020 that'll be a big old surprise. where you started out January 1. This is going to be my year. Next thing you know, you're sitting at home wearing a mask. And you're saying, what in the heck happened? This is still my year. This is still my year of 2020. And I'm going to be a leader. I'm going to be a faith keeper. And I'm going to say, God, I want to see. I want to see. So those are the things I want to leave you with this morning. I see your true colors shining through. I know who you are. I see you from the highest level. And I see what you do right here on this earth too, and I'm proud of you. Each and every one of you, for the love and the peace that you bring into the world, your courage to keep going. So if there's any way in your life that you need assistance, you'd like to change, you want to see anything differently, just say, God, I want to see. And then go about your week. And remember what I said. Let your actions be a reflection of what you would like others to see and admire in you. Thank you for your time.